Okay, I'm a chiropractor. I was educated in the 90s. As I was going through school, we were taking lots of courses, 4 years worth of x-ray training. And in those courses, it was taught to us that way back in the 1930s, it had been discovered that osteoporosis is not even a disease. It's simply what's called a disuse atrophy. In other words, your bones waste away when you don't use them, and your bones get nice and big and strong when you put weights on them. And here's how they found out. They would x-ray a person straight through the pelvis, and you can see the top of the people's legs here. If you x-ray the person through here, you can see the necks of the femurs. And this spot right here is where hip fractures from osteoporosis occur. Lots of weight bearing, and it's a little wee thin spot. So if you take a very thin person and x-ray them on one day, you can see right into the bones, you can see the bone structure, you can see even the lines of weight bearing. Now, if that person over the course of 6 months or a year goes and has an experience of a weight gain, and you bring them back and take exactly the same x-ray, you will see that the bones got nice and big and strong. And so they concluded years ago, back in 1930, that it's the upper body weight bearing pushing down on these bones, and these bones have to carry the extra weight. This is what makes the bones stronger. So they're just like muscles. They waste away when you don't use them. They get stronger when you do use them. That's what osteoporosis is. And when I saw that, I thought to myself, well, what the heck? My mother was on osteoporosis medication, and she had passed away with a stroke. And I looked up the hormone replacement therapy side effects and found out that there was 100,000 ladies every year dropping dead from strokes from this hormone replacement therapy. Yet there was no big hue and cry to get this stuff off the market. So I was kind of really blown away by this scenario. I also learned that the drug company Merck had done some research on osteoporosis and found a link between osteoporosis and menopause. And they did this research back in the 1950s. And they went on to conclude that it had something to do with the ovaries shutting down and all this kind of stuff, which they just made up out of thin air. It's got nothing to do with menopause. It has nothing to do with ovaries or estrogen. It has to do with use it or lose it. Okay, there are some drugs, some prescription medications that cause you to lose it, but in the absence of medications, then it's how much do you use your bones? How much are you on your feet? In our culture, we sit down a lot. So we start sitting down in our early 20s after being very active and on our feet a lot when we're younger than that. And in our early 20s, after sitting down for 30 years watching TV, it corresponds with menopause. And women run out of bone over 30 years of disuse basically faster than men do because men are heavier, we're bigger, we're stronger. So when we're kids, we build up stronger bones. And when we're on our feet, we build up stronger bones simply because we're heavier. That's what it is. So my theory was, if you take a thin person who's heavy, who has little bones, and put exterior weights on them, then whenever they pop up on their feet, they're automatically heavier. So the bones have to carry this extra weight, and in response to the extra forces on the bones get stronger. And lo and behold, there was some research done by an orthopedic surgeon at the University of Oregon in the early 1990s, which was about the time I was going through school, where this lovely young lady, my heroine, Dr. Christine Snow, had ladies coming into the university and wearing weighted vests. And she was x-raying people, and she was measuring their bone mineral density, and she observed increases in bone mineral density even right at the neck of the femur where it counts. So I just said to myself, okay, what if, nobody's going to wear a weighted vest because everyone will laugh at them. What if it was something that just looked like part of somebody's clothing? And that's where the idea came from. And based on that, the existing mess with the drugs and the ineffectiveness of the drugs, and trying to go to something that actually works and does not harm people, and that people can use very easily without changing their daily routine. So that's where the wellness belt came from.